Okay, let's get into this deep dive. We've got a story today that really um, makes you rethink what success actually looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
Forget the usual tech startup narrative.
Yeah.
This one's about a young man in Telangana, in India.
Yeah.
He was on track for a civil engineering degree, but, well, money problems got in the way.
A familiar story for many, unfortunately.
Right. But instead of just stopping or, waiting around, he found this unexpected path to success. And get this, he became an inspiration, not with some complex app, but with corn.
Just corn. And the setting is pretty incredible, too. It all plays out during the Saraswati Pushkaralu festival.
Ah, right. Tell us about that.
Well, it's this huge spiritual event, happens at Kaleswaram's Triveni Sangamam. That's a sacred spot where 3 rivers meet. And it only comes around once every 12 years.
12 years. Wow.
Exactly. So this year it was running from May 15th to May 26th, 2025. And the crowds were just massive.
Okay, so that's the backdrop. So our goal here really is to unpack this story. R Madhu from Jookal village. How did he take this huge setback, this financial roadblock, and turn it into something positive?
And what does his, simple corn business tell us about resilience? About these small micro enterprises, especially in rural India?
Yeah, and how it maybe challenges our usual ideas about needing a degree to succeed.
Mm.
We want to dig into the details of his journey, the local context, and see what lessons we can pull out for you.
It's a great example of how innovation can just pop up, often when things get tough.
Totally. So let's start with Madhu. Who is he? What was the original plan?
Okay, so R Madhu, he's from Jookal village. That's in the Jayashankar Bhupalpally district of Telangana. And like you said, he was studying civil engineering.
Which is a big deal, right? Especially there.
Oh, absolutely. In rural India, getting a professional degree like engineering, it's not just education. It's seen as the golden ticket, the path to a stable, respected future. Families invest a lot in that hope.
So it wasn't just his dream, it was kind of the family's, the community's expectation too.
Yeah.
And that's what hit the snag.
Precisely. He had to stop studying. And the reason was starkly simple. Lack of funds. Financial difficulties just made it impossible to continue.
Oof, that's tough. A major blow, I imagine.
Huge. Especially after probably years of effort and investment already put in, it halts everything on that expected path.
Must have felt like hitting a brick wall. You work towards this one big goal and then poof, it's gone. But he didn't just stop. He pivoted. What did he do?
Well, he didn't just sit around feeling defeated or wait for some miracle job to land in his lap, which, let's be honest, can be really hard to find anyway. He decided to do something. He made an investment.
An investment, how much?
50,000 rupees.
Okay, 50,000. In that context, that feels like a pretty serious amount of money, not just pocket change.
Definitely a significant sum. And what he bought was very specific. An electric machine. One designed just for roasting and boiling corn.
An electric corn machine.
Yeah, no, you might hear corn seller and think, okay, pretty basic. But the key thing here, I think, is that he saw an opportunity in something really simple, something everyday. He saw potential where maybe others wouldn't, precisely because it wasn't flashy or high-tech.
He spotted a basic need and found an efficient way to meet it. And the timing, the location, couldn't have been better, right?
Couldn't have picked a better moment. That's where the Saraswati Pushkaralu festival comes right back into focus.
At the Triveni Sangamam.
Exactly. A deeply spiritual place. These Pushkaralu festivals, they're linked to the planet Jupiter's movement across the zodiac, and they're considered incredibly auspicious times for bathing in sacred rivers. Each major river gets its turn every 12 years.
So not just an annual fair. This is a rare, major pilgrimage event.
Huge. And this year, May 15th to 26th, 2025, the numbers were staggering. Local officials estimated the footfall, the number of visitors, at over 100,000 people.
Wow. Over 100,000.
Yeah. Imagine that many people converging on one spot for almost 2 weeks. It's like a temporary city popping up.
So this spiritual gathering essentially became Madhu's unexpected economic launchpad. His small idea suddenly had this massive ready-made audience.
It was the perfect confluence, really. Huge crowds, people traveling, often looking for quick, easy, affordable food while they're there for the festival rituals.
Which leads us to the product itself. Corn. Why corn? What was it about corn that clicked?
Well, corn, or maca as they call it there, it's part of the fabric of life in Telangana. It's a staple food. It's familiar, comforting. Everyone knows it.
Okay, so he tapped into something people already liked and understood.
Exactly. And his electric machine was key. It let him serve it up, fast roasted, boiled, ready to eat right there. Quick, simple snacks on demand.
So familiar food, made convenient, serve fast, affordable price to a massive crowd. Sounds like a winning formula.
It really does. It just shows how a simple idea, executed well, meeting a basic need, it can be incredibly powerful. The taste, the price, that's what won people over there at the festival.
And that success feels even more powerful when you think about the label he might have carried. Dropout.
That's such a critical point. In India, not finishing your formal education, especially a degree, there's a real stigma attached. It's often seen as, a kind of failure, something that limits you.
But Madhu's story just blows that idea up, doesn't it?
It really does. It's such a strong counter-narrative. It reminds us that success doesn't only come from a degree certificate. Education is vital, obviously, opens so many doors, but Madhu shows there are other paths.
Right.
It makes you think of those stories, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Not saying everyone should drop out, of course not. But it shows that sometimes if the standard path closes or it just doesn't work for you, forging your own way can lead somewhere amazing. His hustle is different, very local, but the principle's there.
He refused to be defined by not having that piece of paper.
Yeah.
And the impact wasn't just personal, right? It spread outwards.
Absolutely. His little corn stall becomes this fantastic real-world example of something much bigger. The power of micro-enterprises, especially in rural areas.
Explain that a bit more. What are micro-enterprises?
Basically, they're tiny businesses, often started with very little money. But collectively, they're the backbone of many local economies, particularly where formal jobs, salaried positions, are hard to come by.
They're not just small fry, they're actually crucial.
Hugely crucial. Think about this reports, like one from NABARD back in 2023, estimated that these tiny rural businesses employ over 110 million people across India.
110 million, that's massive.
It's staggering. They provide livelihoods, put money directly into households, keep local economies ticking over. Madhu's stall, even though it's just one stall, is part of that huge vital system. It shows how even small ventures contribute.
And who specifically got inspired by what he was doing?
Well, his success really seems to strike a chord with local women's self-help groups, the SHGs.
Ah, okay. These groups are already active in the community.
Yes, they often run small economic activities together, sometimes with support from government programs or NGOs. They saw Madhu's model low investment, simple product, tapping into a crowd, and it clicked.
They saw something they could potentially replicate.
Exactly. It felt accessible. Maybe not corn, maybe it's local handicrafts, other snacks, whatever. But the approach was something they could grasp and maybe adapt for themselves. It's that real grassroots economic spark.
And the money they earn stays local.
Right. It gets spent in the village, supporting other local shops and services. NABARD even estimated that, on average, each one of these rural micro-enterprises indirectly helps create another 2.5 jobs.
Yeah.
So Madhu isn't just earning for himself. His activity likely boosts others around Kaleswaram, too.
This whole story also shines a light on the bigger picture for young people in Telangana, doesn't it? The job situation.
It really does. It underscores the challenge of youth unemployment there. We saw some data from 2021-22 UDIs plus REI, that's the Education Information System.
Right.
It put youth unemployment around 13.7% for those at the secondary education level. And even for graduates, it's tough. The Hindu reported in 2025 that overall graduate employability in India is pretty low, like 42.6%. Telangana faces similar struggles.
So even getting the degree doesn't guarantee a job. We know the government's trying things, right? There was that aid scheme.
Yes, exactly. Back in March 2025, the state government announced a planned 3 lakh rupees in financial aid for 5 lakh unemployed youth. Applications opened mid-March, and they were supposedly aiming to get sanction letters out by June 2nd, Telangana Formation Day.
But there was some pushback on that. Skepticism.
There was. Around May 20th, Harish Rao, a leader from the BRS party, that's Bharat Rashtra Samiti, publicly questioned whether the government would actually deliver based on, past track records with similar promises.
And Madhu's approach is such a contrast to just waiting for that aid or waiting for a government job.
A stark contrast. You have this situation where reportedly 2.8 million young people, 28 lakh, are registered with the TSPSC, the state's Public Service Commission, hoping for government employment.
Wow, 2.8 million.
Yeah. And then you have Madhu, who just sidestepped that whole waiting game. He didn't rely on aid or wait for a posting. He created his own opportunity with what he had. It really highlights that there isn't just one way to build a livelihood.
So looking forward, what happens after the festival buzz dies down? What are the challenges for Madhu or others like him?
That's the key question, isn't it? Sustainability. It's not easy. There are real hurdles, like where does he get his corn consistently year-round? What about competition? Others might see the success and jump in.
And the biggest one, maybe how do you keep earning when those huge festival crowds are gone?
Exactly. Relying on just seasonal events or festivals is risky for income stability.
So does he need to diversify, add different things?
Probably. Maybe adding variations like spicy masala corn or other simple snacks people might want regularly, not just during a festival. That could help smooth things out.
And what about broader support?
That's the other challenge. For micro-entrepreneurs like him, accessing things like, say, affordable loans to maybe buy another machine or help with marketing beyond just the local area or even just some basic business training, it can be tough. There might be government initiatives like that gig and platform workers bill people talk about, but often these really small, informal ventures kind of fall through the cracks. They don't easily fit into the boxes for getting support.
Still, despite all those potential difficulties, the way Madhu has emerged as this kind of local role model, that
Yeah.
feels really important.
Oh, absolutely. His story is about so much more than just selling corn. He embodies resilience, right? Redefining success on his own terms, especially given that dropout label and the pressures that come with it.
And you mentioned dropout rates earlier. In Telangana, it's still an issue, particularly for boys.
Yeah, the data suggests that around 8% dropout between classes 9 and 12, with girls being more likely to leave school early. So Madhu's story offers this powerful, positive, alternative narrative.
It's a message that your circumstances don't have to define your future.
Exactly. It shows you can find a path, build something valuable, contribute, even if the conventional route didn't work out. It's about refusing to be limited.
So wrapping up this deep dive, our mother's story out of Jookal village is really quite something. It's a powerful example of ingenuity, of pure resilience, and just seizing an opportunity when you see one, even when things look tough financially or your planned path disappears.
Yeah, and it really throws a spotlight on how vital these tiny micro enterprises are. They're not just side hustles, they're crucial for communities, for livelihoods. And it definitely makes you question those rigid ideas about education needing to follow one specific track to count as success.
It really does. It leaves you with something to think about, doesn't it? What does success actually mean to you? Beyond the degrees, beyond the job titles we expect. And maybe look around your own community. What potential is hiding in plain sight in those small local businesses, the informal economies? What simple idea, maybe born from necessity like Madhu's, could be the next source of inspiration?